Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. This week I'm going to take you through my working process on the very first music video I ever did, which was for the song The Witching Hour by metal band Wrath of the Gods. I'm Lars Wickett and you're watching Director Cuts. As it was decided that the video would be focused on the band itself and not really have any characters or acting in it, I'd wanted to connect with the storyline in the lyrics themselves. The lyrical content of the song was based on the impending witching hour, the time of which lost demonic souls would rise up again, walk the earth, and would lead to the destruction of humanity. With this theme in mind, my first idea was a clock face, counting down to that ever-faithful witching hour, making an appearance throughout the video. And to connect with the demonic uprising and the destruction of humanity as we know it, I also wanted to get hold of some interesting blood effects and stock footage. So I scoured video blocks and stumbled across a superb After Effects template that gave me all those really nice blood layers that go across the screen. I also dug up some really nice stock footage of abandoned buildings, nuclear blasts, and also some really nice subliminal text which is sat behind the guitar solo just to add a really nice red sheen but some flickering as well, just to make the video really pop with little bits and pieces interlaced between the musicians. With the song having a very epic metal beginning with roaring winds and a bell tower chiming, it kind of brought to mind maybe a graveyard scene. So as I was searching through video blocks, I found this really nice cartoon picture of angels and shapes of graveyards in the background. So I downloaded that and used that as the intro just to fade in before the first guitar kicks off. When it came to filming the band members, I had my fateful Canon 700D and its 18-55 kit lens. When it came to lights, I used a big old Fresnel theatre light for a spot, and then I used my photocell LES 600 as a backlight. The location for the shoot ended up being the loading bay of my studio warehouse. The band invested with me into buying some black drape, and I built a makeshift backdrop that hung around the area of the loading bay for shooting in. Due to the confined space and not being able to fit a whole band in, and the fact that I only had the 18-55 kit lens and no wide angle lens or any other interesting lenses to use to capture the band better, then I decided to shoot each musician individually within that space. I didn't want to just use the loading bay blacked out because it would have made for a very mundane video. As it happens, in the studio I also have a corridor which has two walls which are fully wood panelled, and that worked out really well for an extra setting. So the blacked out loading bay was used to shoot the really cool kind of aggressive musician performance shots, and the wood panel corridor was kind of used for the slightly quirky, crazy looking side of each musician. Just to add a little bit more dynamic in both locations, I also used a smoke machine and a large industrial fan, which to my surprise worked out really well, especially when it came to the lead singer and his long hair. It was just flailing everywhere and it just looked amazing. One final little effect that I wanted to put into the video was the old Metallica Enter Sandman strobing effect. So we bought a really cheap strobe, and I just placed it in front of the guys and filmed them for a few minutes, and it worked out. I got a few little shots that interlaced into the video that just look really cool. shooting itself was split into 2 days. I shot the entire band in one evening on both backdrops, and also did my parts in the wood panelled corridor that very same night. I just got the guitarist to press record, and then on the second shoot night it was just my drum kit only being shot in the black backdrop, and I had my good friend and camera op Russ Carlin come to shoot that for me. When it came to post-production, it was all about After Effects. As I'd mentioned earlier, I'd got hold of an awesome After Effects template which did all the moving blood across the screens and some kind of dripping blood that you don't really notice that I interlaced over the musicians' shots. I also got hold of some other fantastic stock footage. As I mentioned before, the angel in the graveyard for the setting of the scene at the start with the wind and the bells worked really good. The band also supplied me with a logo of like a Spartan's helmet, so I did that as a pulsing motion along with the bell at the start, which looked really cool. And we also had the clock counting down throughout the video, and also the cogs. I used the cogs to kind of move in and out through the footage, so it looked like you were travelling either in time or through the clocks themselves. When it came to the midsection and the tempo and the song kind of lift a bit, the lead singer looks almost kind of angelic at that time, so I found a really nice stock footage of clouds rolling and converted that with a kind of a red tinge to it, and that just worked really well. And also dropping the clock face over him when he was in the corridor, it just popped out really well. Hair looked amazing. It just worked better than I could have imagined. And then rolling into the guitar solo, I have that stock footage that I mentioned about the subliminal messaging in the background. I think it just flashes up saying blood, red and death and things like that. But it just makes his white guitar really pop out on the screen, and just worked great. Also, when they do some of the dual guitars and fading in and out, I used some of the nuclear blast footage. It just worked great. With this video being my very first directed video, I think I went a little bit effects crazy. I also added in flashing light and shaking motion that connected with cymbal hits and guitar pushes, and spent a lot of time masking and feathering so that I could get band members merged into each other's shots. As you would expect from my first ever directed music video, a lot of blood, sweat and tears went into it, and with the limitations of the 700D and the kit lens, I think I did pretty well. But don't take my word for it, go and check it out. In the meantime, if you want to know any further information about the production of this video, then leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and if you want to be notified about future videos, then hit that little bell. Thanks for watching, guys.